This is the craziest thing I've ever like experienced in my life. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. All right. This is in reference to case number 20-17904. The date is February 27th, 2020. The time is approximately 17:49 hours. I am located at the Tealwood apartment complex at, what's the building number? 474. Tealwood apartment complex. I am talking to the resident of one of the residents. Sir, can you give me your name, please?
it's Vincent,
And what's your date of birth, sir?
1999.
All right, is it okay if I call you Vincent?
Of course.
Okay, well, like I said, my name's Scott Lowen. I'm the homicide detective with the Sheriff's Office. Please just call me Scott.
Okay.
Obviously, we're out here today talking about an incident that occurred with the residents of Apartment 3, which are your direct next-door neighbors, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to kind of preface and start out with a couple of different basic questions. How long have you been living in apartment?
The end of January was a year, so about a year and a month.
Year and a month?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And your apartment, from what I can see, is a single-story apartment. It's not a townhome like your neighbors, correct?
Yes, no, it's a single story, yeah.
Okay. Is your bedroom the one in the back, next to the back wall?
Yeah, it's the one where you can like see the kick out from the back patio of their apartment there, yeah.
That's what I was wondering. So your bedroom is right next to their back patio?
Yes.
So you get to hear everything that's going on in the back patio, or is it
On the
pretty
back
airtight?
patio and the living room, because their living room at the bottom of their stairs is right next to where my head lays on my bed.
Okay.
So literally, and it was like an every night thing, with the beat, and it wasn't even just him on her. It was like they were going at it, like at each other, and it was
really?
like it was just really bad and really loud, like every night.
Was it, you mean verbally?
No, like physically, yeah. It was like.
So what were you hearing?
The detective hadn't even asked the question. The witness volunteered that there was violence. Notice he begins to say something that sounds like beating. Here it is again.
With the beat, and it wasn't even.
This is yet another witness confirming that both Boone and Torres were violent with each other. Do you think that if things had greatly improved, like Sarah says, if things had been peaceful there, that the first thing out of the witness's mouth would have been that there was violence every night? Or would it be something more like, gee, things have been quiet for a while? Really, it could be either. How witnesses respond depends on a number of variables. It's just another little thing to add to the pile. And remember, the witness says his bedroom wall is attached to Boone's living room.
It was like, I don't it was never like I couldn't physically hear like hitting, you know what I mean? But like I heard like getting thrown up against the wall, or like I've heard thrown down the stairs a few times. Like it's just and it's like that's a very clear sound, you know what I mean? Like you hear somebody up here get down here very fast, and it's like you just kind of know what happened.
He knows the sound of someone falling or being pushed down the stairs. The sound is familiar to him. It also tells us that someone tumbling down those stairs is something that occurs in that household.
Okay. It's like, and the reason that like I've never said anything about it, or I was just kind of minding my own business, is because I literally found out that this happened so often, and they were known by the local police here or whatever, that all the neighbors just stopped calling because the police were tired of it, pretty much. Like, not like tired of it, but it was
I know
like,
what you mean, though.
It was just like, it was an every week thing, once or twice a week. So it was like.
Everybody knew. The police knew. This is tragic. While there are things that friends, family, neighbors, and the criminal justice system can do to help, things that have literally saved lives. Once people are caught in these situations, it's difficult to get out. There's all kinds of research on this, books, white papers, and so on, so I won't go on about it. I will say two things. Take it seriously, and if there are children involved, even if they aren't physically hurt, always call police and/or Child Protective Services.
I don't know. And then there was the one night I was standing on my back patio, I was smoking a cigarette, and then she just randomly walked over and like started talking to me about how she like knows I can hear stuff. And then she was just like, if you ever hear anything like get really loud or whatever, like just, you know, keep quiet about it. Like pretty much like she was like respectfully like try to mind your own, like keep it to yourself, you know. I was like, okay. I was like, whatever, you know.
This is a big deal. I thought he was going to say she told him to call for help if he heard things, but no, it's the opposite. One of the things I used to tell survivors and stalking victims was to talk to their neighbors and tell them to please call 911 if you hear anything. A lot of people won't call police because they feel it's none of their business. Some people think about calling, but hesitate. They're unsure. If there's an attack happening, there's no time for hesitation. But here we are, hearing Sarah telling the neighbor to keep quiet. One could fairly argue that this is another sign the couple is psychologically stuck. But given what is known about this couple, I think it would be a weak argument. I think that this interaction between Sarah and the witness is important if the defense is going to use battered spouse. In order for battered spouse to work, the accused has to believe there was no way to escape other than homicide. Here, she is proactively approaching a neighbor and telling him not to help.
You do you, I'll do me.
Pretty much. That,
yeah,
you know, I go to
you.
school down here. You know, I'm from New Jersey. I don't live in Florida. You know, I'm just here to do my school and live my life, you know. And it's like, so for her to tell me, like, don't really pay attention, I was just like, all right, you know.
How long ago was that, you think?
A few months, probably like 3.5, 4 months ago, probably. You know, she was just like telling me, like, just keep quiet, like, if you hear it, pretty much. And I was just like, whatever.
Okay. Did you ever hang out with them on the back porch?
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Did you hung out with them?
Yeah, I have, and it was like, not for like long periods of time, but like, you know, I'm a musician, so like they heard me playing guitar the one day, so they asked me to come over and tune their son's guitar. So I tuned their son's guitar for them and everything, and I was playing on the back porch because, you know, I write songs, so they were like asking me if they can hear it and everything. I was like, yeah, sure. I had nothing going on, so I went back there and I was hanging out with them and I was playing some guitar, and I did it a few times, and then I was actually in their apartment a few times. Like, he was an artist, and he was showing me like a bunch of his paintings and like artist drawings and stuff like that. So I mean, like,
I may have been wrong about something I've been saying, or at least partly wrong. The witness says Torres was an artist. I previously said that the painting on the night of the incident was something Sarah wanted to do. I said that because she was clear that she'd planned the activities and was getting him to do them. Now it sounds like he liked doing the art. That does not mean that's what he wanted to do that night or that she wasn't being controlling, but it does raise the possibility he was okay with that activity.
They were cool people, but like there was something going on, especially with Sarah, you know what I mean? Like, there was something going on with her. Like, you could even tell, you know, it was like she wasn't all there, you know.
Okay. Now, as far as like their drinking habits, did you notice?
He said, especially with Sarah. I wish the detective asked him to expand on that. Clearly, there's something here, but we don't know what it is. If battered spouse is used as a defense, it could open the door to delve further into what this witness means here and why he said that.
As far as like their drinking habits, did you notice? Were they heavy drinkers? Did they drink at all? Or?
God, whoa! Like, that's like, I mean, like, it was so bad. It wasn't all the time, but it was like there was some mornings where I'd be leaving for school at 9 a.m. and I'd like see him like stumbling off the sidewalk right here, you know, like that drunk at 9 o'clock in the morning, or like even earlier sometimes. It's like, it's ridiculous sometimes. But I do have to say, whenever her son was around, that was the only, like, the times where I never saw them ever drinking. That was the only time, you know what I mean? But like, other than that, it was like they were drunk all the time. All the time.
Okay.
Yes.
He says it wasn't all the time, but he also says it was all the time. He says they didn't drink when her son was around. I wonder if she had been warned about that. In any case, that alcohol was a problem is consistent with what other witnesses have said.
Okay.
And it was very visible, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were like functioning alcoholics, you know what I mean? It was like they had to drink to get through the day type thing, you know?
Did you know their drink of choice?
No, I'm not sure.
When you were hanging out with them, you never.
No, because like when I was hanging out on the back porch, they weren't drinking. We were just honestly sitting there, and we were smoking cigarettes, and I was just like playing some guitar. But yeah, they weren't actually drinking that day. Okay. And even when I was in the house, I didn't see anything that was like a bottle or anything that they would drink. Yeah.
Okay. How old are you?
20.
20.
Yes.
I'm gonna make an assumption here.
Okay.
And I don't mean no disrespect by it, but I'm assuming as a 20-year-old, you have smelled what marijuana smells like when it's burning.
Of course.
Now, have you ever noticed that coming from their place?
No.
They're not smokers.
Definitely not. I don't believe they're like towards like any type of drug. You know what I mean? Like,
good. How are you?
I don't think they like were on any type of drug. You know what I mean? It was just like very visible, like.
They were
alcohol,
drinkers.
you know, because like I've had like uncles and stuff that have dealt with it, so like I just know what it looks like to be a heavy alcoholic, you know, and it's just like that's what it looked like, that they just had a lot of drinking problems, you know.
I got you. Yeah. Were you home on Sunday by chance?
Yes. Yeah.
Did you hear anything?
Yeah, actually I did. Yeah, that night. So I was reading the article online about what happened and everything, and like. It's just like that story is just like it doesn't match like what we heard, you know what I mean? Like when me and my roommate heard, it's just like it wasn't that quiet. Like the whole like it was a joke or whatever, or like whatever, you know. But it was too loud. Okay. Like I literally like it. I don't know about the whole like what the Suitcase deal was and everything, but it was just.
Let's do this. Let's back you up.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of get this to flow through.
Okay.
It is okay for a witness statement not to flow on the first telling. We now know that this witness read news articles. We know he has had opportunities to speak to other witnesses. Of course, this is natural for people to do. There are reasons, though, why police try to separate witnesses before interviewing them. This witness interview is February 27th. The occurrence was Sunday the 23rd into Monday the 24th. Boone was arrested on February 25th at 16:55 hours. There is so much to do in these investigations. There are lots of valid reasons why detectives can't interview a particular witness immediately. And this interview is only days after the occurrence. Defense lawyers sometimes make hay of the fact that a witness has read news articles or social media posts or has spoken with other witnesses. I don't think it will be a big issue in this case. I bring it up for informational purposes. The other thing that's clear here is that this witness knows that Sarah's story about playing and fun does not match with what he heard. Sometimes it seems like gaslighters can fool everybody, but they can't fool all of the people all of the time.
What time did you get up Sunday?
In the morning?
Yeah.
Sunday, I was up at 4:30. I was going to work,
Holy cow. What time did you get home?
I got home at 1 o'clock.
So you were at home at 1.
Yeah.
Did you take a nap or anything, or you just power your way through it?
No. Because I get home and then I have class the next morning on Monday. So like I just stay up so I don't have trouble sleeping at night.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So I just power through the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you get home at 1. Was there already noise going on? It was quiet?
Yeah. It was. I didn't truthfully like
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything until like and before like the whole loud noise and everything.
Yeah.
I just heard like the normal yelling at each, the verbal like
Yeah.
yelling and like the whole like arguing. I hate you, blah blah blah,
Okay.
whatever.
That was gonna be my
like,
next question. What kind of stuff were you hearing?
Yeah, it was just like the normal like it sounds like
So
a normal
it wasn't
couple.
like a really elevated screaming. It was just
no, it was elevated screaming, but it was like normal like
their normal.
Yeah,
elevated
it was like
screaming.
pretty much.
I
Yeah,
got you. Okay.
yeah.
He heard them arguing. Once again, in spite of what Sarah claims, everything was not fine. And elevated screaming was normal for them.
So that's the normal back and forth. So that was basically going on starting when you got home.
I would say probably a little later in the afternoon. A little later in the afternoon there. Probably around like 7 o'clock. It's like, because I feel like that's when like the drinks are settling in and they get a little more violent toward each other, you know, and it's like...
Were they outside or was this all inside, you remember?
It's truthfully when I'm home and stuff, like I'm a music producer, so I'm on my laptop a lot in my room, you know, so like from what I heard in my room, it sounded like they were directly across from me or like directly across and up, so like either in the rooms there or like downstairs in the living room in that you know area right there. So
did you go out on the back to smoke it all that night?
No, actually I quit smoking. I smoke a vape now, so I stay in my apartment now. It's just a little vape now.
Good for you.
Yeah,
oh, that's a big thing. I mean,
well, yeah, and after the law changed and everything, I can't buy them anymore, so I kind of got forced into it, you know. So it was like, this is just like I needed it to like kind of ease the cigarettes off, but we're working at just trying to go completely off it, you know.
Wow. Okay, so but you're in your room. How late did you stay up that night, you think?
I was up pretty late. I stay up pretty late every night, and I just get so lost in my music. I was up probably till like 1 a.m. that night, probably right around there. Yeah, and then like I said, we were just talking about it before, me and my roommate actually. That night, right around, it was probably right around 10:30, 11 o'clock maybe, is when I heard like it get escalated, you know, like it's like the voices got louder, they were yelling, whatever, and then like it got quiet for a little while, and then I heard this really loud like slamming noise.
He hears an escalated argument. So this is beyond the normal elevated screaming. There's an escalation at around 10:30 or 11 p.m. This tells us Mr. Torres was not in the suitcase yet. And they were not playing hide and seek. They were not playing. Just a note on times. It's common for witnesses to be a little off on times. I'm not saying he's wrong, just something to remember in case a few minutes either way becomes an issue. In this case or any case that you hear about. We know that by 23:13, Mr. Torres was in the suitcase. We know that from the video.
Excuse me.
Do you know about what time that was?
Right around 11:15. It was about 15 minute span there, you know, and then...
When you say a slamming noise, does it sound like something hit the wall?
Like something like was bouncing down the stairs between the railing and the wall and the stairs. Like, all the way down. Like, you know, and it was clear because like my roommate even said it too, like he heard it up here and it kind of went away from him, and he's the front room here. Yeah. And I'm in the back, so it was kind of like it was in the middle of the house.
Coming at you.
And came right at me, and it was literally right next to me, and I've never felt this before, but that night I was explaining to him the next day because he had said he heard the noise, and I was like, dude, I felt the wall shake. Like it was literally like such a powerful hit against the wall, like the wall shook, and I felt it, and that was like something that where I was like, I kind of looked at the wall and I was just like, that was a little much. A little much, but like I thought, and this whole time I really thought it was like him, you know what I mean, like going off or whatever, but like I said, I don't know what happened inside, but that's just like what I heard, and it sounded like it was just bouncing, you know what I mean, like down the stairs between like the wall and like...
Here's the order. Escalated arguing, then quiet for 15 minutes. Then a slam and a tumble down the stairs. This sequence, along with the known timeline, is what has convinced me that Mr. Torres did not get into that suitcase voluntarily. This was not a drunken game. This was not a prank that went wrong. It's not the tumble down the stairs that convinced me. It's those minutes of silence. Their pattern is argument and escalation to violence. So the silence is worrisome. The silence tells us that something unusual happened here. Did she hit him in the head with something? Did she choke him until he lost consciousness? I believe she incapacitated him somehow. And it was during this silence that she stuffed him into the suitcase. Then she pushed the suitcase down the stairs.
And that was like a 11:15, you said?
Yeah, it was like, cause we heard like yelling and stuff around like 10:30, 10:45ish, and then it got quiet for like 20-30 minutes maybe, and then maybe like between 15 and 30 minutes around there. Yeah,
no worries.
And it was like then that loud noise, and then I heard like shuffling around, and then just we both heard it at the same time. It just got silent, and I was just like, okay, I guess it's over. I guess that was like the last like.
The times here are a little bit different. Now he's saying 20 to 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes. The difference does not mean he's lying. It just means he's estimating. 10:30, 10:45 is still consistent. Whether the silence was 15 minutes or 30 minutes, it still fits. Mr. Torres was in the suitcase at 23:13. Just prior to that, the witnesses heard the big crashing down the stairs. Just prior to that was the silence. After the crash, there was shuffling around. This explains a lot. Whatever she did to make him silent, and I suspect he was unconscious or close to it, was serious enough that it went on for more than a minute or two. Even the shortest time span of 15 minutes is a long time. It's possible that she knocked him out, and when he didn't wake up, she thought she'd killed him and panicked. Instead of calling 911, she put him in the suitcase. I don't know that, so let's say that's not the case. Let's say she knew he was alive. Does she go get help? Nope. Does she run away? If the defense is going to say he's so dangerous, then, she's not running away. She stuffed him in the suitcase. There is no logical explanation for how he got into that suitcase other than her putting him in there. In order to come up with a different explanation, you would have to ignore facts. You would have to ignore that silence immediately after an escalated argument and before the crash. And there's something more. Something I missed at the very beginning during the 911 call. One of my subscribers brought this to my attention. This was a great catch. Listen to this.
Okay, 4748 France, correct?
Correct.
All right, great. Now tell me exactly what happened there.
My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I put him in his case and we were playing.
She said she put him in the suitcase. The story that he got into the suitcase himself was not the original story. Her original statement was that she put him in that suitcase. She was telling the truth about that, intentionally or not. Once he was in there, she had to have pushed, kicked, or dropped him down the stairs. All along, I have thought this was a clear second degree rather than a first degree. Now I'm doubting that it's not first. It will be interesting to find out if he had injuries to the brain and what else the medical examiner will have to say at trial.
Then they're done. Like, I guess they walked away from each other.
You didn't hear anything after that?
After that, not loud enough to where I could hear it through the wall. You know what I mean? I don't know if anything.
Did you hear
happened
muffled
after.
anything, or
No,
just nothing? It went dead quiet.
Not dead quiet after that. Because like the walls aren't thin, but they're not thick.
Yeah, no, I got it.
I mean,
so they could have been over there talking normally, and you would never know.
Yeah, because like if they're having normal conversation and stuff, no. But like when they're fighting and they're arguing, you can clear. It's like being on the other side of a bedroom wall, because it's apartments and they're so close.
But at 11:15, that's the last thing you heard. And what you heard was a thump.
Yeah,
on the stairway.
it was right about that time, like right around 11:15. Yeah, 11:15ish. Yeah.
And you were up till about 1, and you heard nothing else.
Nothing. I heard, like I said, like a little shuffling around down there, and then that was it.
Did you hear anything? Like, could you make out what they're? Hey, have him grab his buddy's stuff, his food, please. I feel bad. Your stuff is on the ground, and they're going inside.
Thank you very much.
When they were yelling earlier, could you make out anything, or is it just kind of?
It's kind of just like I was saying. It's like you can like hear the whole like I hate you like, and then like you clearly. Thank you, bro. You can clearly hear like some like the I hate yous and the clear like.
Yeah.
Cursing at each other and stuff, and
I'm going to bring my partner over here.
Okay.
I'm going to introduce her onto the recording. This is Chelsea Kepsel. She's actually the lead investigator on this case. I'm going to kind of surmise what you told me for her, and if at any point I'm misquoting you, please stop me, okay?
Of course, yeah, sure.
He got up Sunday morning, went to work about 4:30, got home about 1. Things were quiet till probably about 7. He said that then he hears the arguing. He said it's the normal. He's in his bedroom. He can hear the I hate you, going back and forth, at a pretty much high volume, which is their normal arguing voice. This continues on pretty much throughout the night, but at right about 10:30, you hear a lot of arguing, right? It gets a little bit escalated at that point.
Yeah, it got louder.
And then right around 11:15, they hear this, he hears this banging coming down the stairs. He said hears bang, bang, bang. You can tell it's coming down the stairs because it starts and then it stops right next to him. And when it stopped, he said something just slammed the wall. He said it shook the wall. He said that was the first time he's ever felt like the whole wall shake like that. Mm-hmm. He said after that it was quiet. He was up till about 1 o'clock. But
I understand the detective focusing on the noise and not the silence before the noise. That silence before the crashing is the important silence. In the interest of completeness, I've left the rest of the interview in this video, but I have no additional comments that aren't repetitive.
Prior to that, I was just trying to... Did you hear any threatening anything prior to that? Was anybody screaming, I'm going to kill you, or...
No, I never heard anything like that. Not that night.
Have you heard that in the past?
No, I've never, not that I can recall, truthfully, like, I can't remember ever hearing, like, I'm going to kill you, or, like, any type of, like, threat towards each other like that, but, like, I've also, like, it's very visible with them sometimes. Right. It used to be, like, it'd be very loud arguing, and then the next morning you see her outside and bruises on her face, or him out here with, like, scratch marks everywhere, bruises everywhere, it's like, it's just very visible what was going on and everything. Right. And it was just like I was saying before, I just there was a time where she literally came up to me and she was like, no matter like what you hear, pretty much, like, just kind of keep quiet about it, respectfully, like, mind your own business. And I was just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Like,
you remember when that was?
I would about 3.5, 4 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah. Not too long ago, but not like very, very recent.
Right, right. Okay.
He said the arguing was nightly. He said the reason the front office hasn't heard anything more is because everybody just kind of gave up calling.
Yeah, it was like
Would you complain in the past or no?
No, I never did. It was because like they've been here for so long, and all the other neighbors around here have been here for so long and stuff. And like I was talking to some other people that I met through the school that live in the apartment complex and everything, and they were saying like people just don't really like them all that much. They were like very. I guess it was just the way they came across, with everybody. It was just like they're the way they presented themselves. You know, they were always drunk, like I was saying before, like always, like sun up to sun down type, like all the time. And it was like, I guess people just didn't really want to interact. Yeah, because it's like, you know, I'm sure you guys have interacted with people who are very over the limit, like drunk and stuff, and it's just, it gets very annoying after a while, you know. So it's like conversations can't last more than like 2 minutes tops, and it's just like everybody wants to go, you know. But they're always consistent about like being there, and that's why nobody really liked them all that much, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you think would be good for us to know about this or them?
I don't think so. I think I've pretty much like covered everything like that I thought was, you know, necessary from that night or whatever. Like what I've heard, you know, in the past and everything, that was just like, it was just, you could tell it was just a very violent relationship that was never gonna do any good, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? Like it was just a very toxic relationship that had a lot of problems.
Could you do me a favor, raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm everything we've talked about is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can put your arm down. The time is approximately 16:08 hours. I'm stopping the recording. What's a good phone number?
18:08 hours. 16.
Sorry.
It's 6:08.